Ex-hubby finds out I'm going on a first vacation with my new BF and does this to sabotage it and use my children as a pawn. Oh boy, he'll regret it. I have 50-50 custody of 2 kids. 10 and 1 have alternate weeks. This summer, my boyfriend must travel to a city a few hours away from work. He'll be gone for a week and suggested I come with him. This is closest to our anniversary, a couple of weeks early, and I don't have the kids that week, so I arranged to take time semi-off work and booked a ticket. I told X the plan just so he knew that I wouldn't be available if he needed me in that week. X then says I can't go because his brother is getting married that week. The wedding is no kids, and he's the best man, so he needs me to take them that week despite being X's custody week on paper. He added that it has to be the whole week as there are pre- and post-wedding events around the actual wedding. I've said the boyfriend and I have booked this week already. And while I love the kids, bringing them would shift the tone drastically, plus I'll have to alter the bookings. X says that he can't coordinate the kids coming to the wedding. I suggested asking X's mother to watch them, but X says he doesn't want to ask her to do that when she's meant to be enjoying the day. I also suggested asking his brother to make an exception as our kids are the only niece and nephew that either the bride or groom has. Neither of them has kids, so sneaking in the only 2 kids closely related to them might work. But X refused to even ask his brother. I said I can't take the kids to the city I'll be traveling to. X said that in that case, I'll have to cancel the week with boyfriend. I said he could always tap out of his brother's wedding or arrange childcare at the venue. X said that it's firmly no kids, and I can't reasonably expect him to miss his brother's wedding. I said I'm not canceling my week with my boyfriend, and X will have to figure it out. X called me a bad mother for prioritizing time with my boyfriend over being with the kids. I said that him being willing to miss a week with his kids for an event that excludes children doesn't exactly make him look like father of the year. He said it's a one-off event, not just ditching like me. And I've said I've not had a holiday since the kids were born while he has one per year, so he needs to think about that before he says anything else. He then said I was being an idiot for holding his previous holidays against him and that he isn't trying to get a holiday here. He's trying to attend his brother's wedding. Am I the idiot for telling him he'll have to miss the wedding? Not the idiot. You've spent money on a holiday that coincides with the week you don't have custody of the children. Your ex knew the wedding was that week and knew it was his week to have custody of the children, but somehow assumed in his head that you would take care of them anyway. He can just get a babysitter for the wedding. Not the idiot. Your ex can figure out his own childcare. Also, I don't believe that this is just about a scheduling conflict. He never told you about the week in question until you mentioned that you would be taking time off with a boyfriend. He doesn't want to ask his mother any other family members or hire a babysitter. He says he needs the whole week, so you have to cancel the entire trip. He called you a bad mother for prioritizing time with a boyfriend. Yeah. I don't think this is about a scheduling conflict at all. I think he just doesn't like the thought of you getting a nice vacation with your boyfriend and is trying to sabotage it. I guess the wedding has been planned for months, if not a year in advance, and he only says something after you tell him your plans. If it was so important, why did he not communicate with you and ask that you did not make plans for that week months ago? Everyone's the idiot here. You guys are arguing about who has the kids as if they themselves are the inconvenience. Neither of you should be parents. When my ex complains about not wanting to take his kids, good. More time with me, and I don't have to send them to a place where they are clearly not wanted. Essentially, what you're trying to do. I get it's his week, which is why he is the idiot, but you going tit for tat makes you the idiot as well. They're your children, and you're going to send them into a hostile environment because you haven't had a vacation? You're not mom of the year either. I disagree. He should have told OP as soon as the date was set, which he did not. He also didn't call OP once the date was set to let her know that he needed OP to take the kids the entire week that he normally would have them. This isn't about the children. This is about him not taking responsibility. Me and my wife have a toddler daughter. I'm a doctor, and my wife's a middle school teacher. Unlike her, my work hours can be odd sometimes. I work during weekends and holidays, no exception. Where I live, the demand for working doctors is high. We're overworked and underpaid. I know this can affect my family's life as they want to spend time with me, but I'm trying to do my best. So the situation is that my wife wanted me to stay home and watch our daughter so my wife could attend her friend's child-free wedding. She knew I wasn't going, which is fine. I don't know the family well. I told her that I had a shift later in the evening. She said she'd be home before the early evening. I suggested getting a family member to babysit. She told me to not worry and will arrange for her sister to come. The day came. I was in the shower when my wife was leaving. I got out and found our daughter downstairs. I stayed with her, and in 45 minutes, I started calling my wife to ask if anyone will show up to watch our daughter because I needed to get ready for work. She said no one agreed to watch her, so I needed to stay with her until she came home. I flipped out after she said she won't be home until 7. That way, I was going to miss my shift. I told her I won't wait till then and will call for a babysitter. She tried to argue with me about how I was overreacting babysitter, but after I argued with her, I requested one right away. Once the babysitter arrived, I got ready to go to work and was in a mess knowing that it will be a busy night later. I made sure everything was okay with the babysitter then left. My wife called me after she came home saying she couldn't believe I brought in a babysitter, and that I could have used this time to do bonding activities with my daughter, but I already explained I had to work. She rudely asked if work was more important than hung up. Despite trying to speak to her, she thought what I did was wrong and negatively affected our daughter. She kept arguing about it like I made a mistake. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your wife clearly has some issues, both with communication. She agreed to getting a babysitter and then didn't tell you that fell through, which is awful. Then wanting to test your engagement to the family. To me, she sounds like she hasn't a lot of respect for you and your job. And, of course, a job shouldn't be more important than family, but no job means a worse situation for the family. So, yeah, it's very important. Instead of talking about whatever she's clearly upset about, she created this dramatic and completely unnecessary situation herself and then attacked you for trying to resolve it, which is both stupid and mean. Not the idiot. What she did was manipulative. She should have thought about the demanding hours before she decided to marry a doctor. She wants the perks but not the sacrifices that go with the job. The daughter is a toddler. She is not going to remember that daddy had to go to work instead of stay with her when mommy had to go to a wedding. That's just nonsense and gaslighting. Exactly. Which is why she lied about having her sister come knowing OP had to work that night. She put a wedding before OP going to work, showing her priorities are not in line. And OP did the responsible thing. He got a babysitter so he could go make money, while his wife did go and enjoy the wedding. Everyone's the idiot here. She more than you. You don't babysit your kid. You take care of your child because you're the father. You made a choice to bring her to this world with your wife, so change that vocabulary mindset. And your wife is the idiot because she chose to ignore the very important work you're doing, especially in the middle of a global situation. If she needs a break, which is understandable, she should have handled this better instead of doing exactly what she knew was going to affect you in a negative way. I think communication needs to improve in this situation overall. However, it depends on whether this is a one-off or if this is a thing that happens a lot, i.e., her dismissing your work and needs. I just want to preface this by saying that my parents are extremely loving and supportive, but will not budge on this specific issue for no apparent reason. I got into real estate photography last summer, and it was the first job I've ever had. I was self-employed and worked for about 8 realtors. I make great money, $130 per shoot, and by the time school started, I had made close to $10,000. My parents were thrilled that I was so ambitious and happy that I was becoming an entrepreneur of sorts. I'm very frugal with my money, and I haven't spent any of it since then except for gas in my car until recently when I wanted to build a computer for myself. I currently use a 2017 Mac Air that gets photo editing done. Still, I want to expand my business this summer to include videography as well. Hence, I need to upgrade to a more powerful computer. I also plan to game on this PC because, naturally, I enjoy video games, and I want to use it for them in my spare time. I asked them if I could start ordering parts for the PC, and I didn't even think they would give it a second thought, but my mom began to yell at me and started bringing up every single thing that they had ever bought me, saying that if I wanted to use my money for a game, work computer, that I should start paying for everything else too. My dad then joined in and took her side. For context, my family is very well off, and I know that my parents are not struggling with bills in any way. My parents own over 3 dozen apartment and rental units. They have incredibly well-compensated day jobs, so it baffles me as to why I'm asked to pay for bills if I wanted to buy a computer for myself. They bought me a car last month before I started working, which was around $30,000 as a gift, and are now demanding that if I want to buy the PC, which is only $1,700, that I should make car payments as well as insurance and water, electric, and phone bills. I really don't know what to do to make them let me spend my own money how I want to. I plan to save the rest of the money for college as my parents have set aside money for me to go to undergrad, but I want to fund my own way through law school, and I have no plans of ever spending it. But now they want me to pay the bills of the house in order for me to use my money. I have a debit card and checking account that my money is stored in that they have access to, and I'm afraid that they're going to drain my account and not let me use my money. How do I convince them to let me use the money or at least calm them down and make sure they don't drain my checking account and steal my hard-earned money? Your parents are trying to manipulate you so you will comply with what they want you to do. It also sounds likely they think you're blowing your money and don't understand it's to expand your business. When your mom started yelling at you about everything they bought and they threatened to start charging you car payments and car insurance, that's just them throwing a tantrum trying to manipulate you so you will be in compliance. Sounds like money is their motivating factor, and that's how you have to approach this. Ask them first how happy they are that you've saved all the money you have, then explain to them that by adding the extra equipment, you can make even more money. Appeal to the greed. Because they're willing to threaten you, you should make sure that as soon as the money you earned can be moved to an account that only you have access to, you should probably do that too. You are almost an adult. What your parents own is none of your business. They're trying to teach you responsibility and that no one gets a free ride. Personally, my mom had me paying rent and bills at 15 when I started working, and now in my mid-30s, I'm very good at budgeting. You should be paying for your car and phone expenses at the very least. I disagree. It stinks to make the car payment if it was a gift, but insurance and your portion of the phone isn't asking too much. Perhaps for the car, you could say that it was a gift, and if it was not a gift and you're going to have to pay for it, you'd like to trade it in for a cheaper car. Okay, so this is an issue that I can't deal with. I, 28, am 6 months pregnant. Me and my husband have been discussing who can be in the delivery room. I told him my mother was going to go, obviously, and he said he would want his mother to be there. I will be okay with that, but the hospital will only let 2 people in. I told him if she went, he won't be able to go. He said he was expecting me to get rid of my mother and let him go, but I told him that wasn't happening. We're now in an argument, and he said he will go to his friend's house. It's been 2 days, and he still hasn't returned. He isn't answering my calls either. Now I don't know where he is. Am I the idiot? Absolutely not the idiot. He wants you to bump your mother out of a significant procedure so that he and his mother can be there. Really, you get the last say on this. You should have the people who will support you there because being supported makes childbirth easier and creates better outcomes for you and your baby. If that means your mother is there, that's good for everyone. The fact that your husband doesn't understand that to the fact that he'd leave his pregnant wife to sleep at a friend's and not answer her calls tells me he has no clue what childbirth is about. Not the idiot. The baby's coming out of your body. How will his mom holding his hand help you? Even if he's not there, why should your mother-in-law, a stranger, see your body and see you at your most vulnerable? Your mom is non-negotiable. Your mother-in-law has no right being there whether they let 2 or 10 people in. Don't give in. He's acting like a child and thinks you will fold. Send him a birthing video and say you need your mom more than you need him. Make sure to take a photo of your mother-in-law to show the nurse and reception and security at your labor ward so that she doesn't try to sneak in. Right. I'm surprised no one is addressing the fact that he's not only throwing a tantrum, but he's been missing in action for days. Oh, why on earth would you want to raise a kid with this guy? Red flags everywhere. And choosing his mom over you, the one giving birth to his kid? Man, this sounds like a bad situation. Leave them both out of the delivery room. Your husband is being childish and selfish. He isn't the one that needs support in the delivery room. He isn't the one doing any birthing. He doesn't need his hand held. It's you that needs the support and help that you choose, so you get to decide who is there to provide that support to you. Of course, you're going to prefer your own mother over his. Not the idiot. OMG. This is hard enough for you without him acting like this. He is not the one giving birth, so he's not the one who gets to call the shots on this. He should be there, and the other person should be whoever makes you feel safe, loved, and calm. If that's your mom, friend, sibling, mother-in-law, or whoever, it's up to you to decide. I don't want to tell you to get a divorce, but this is not okay, and he needs to sort out his priorities if your marriage is ever going to work in the long run. I, 28 male, am white as snow, born in Switzerland. My wife, 25, comes from Paraguay where they keep their indigenous culture present in their everyday life. The indigenous language is recognized as official, taught in schools, used and mixed with Spanish, and I saw it even in my wife's passport. The whole country is considered a mix because of the historical context. However, if you're white, brown, Asian, or black, you're still Paraguayan. So my wife moved to Spain when she was 11, and now she has the 2 nationalities. I have 2 other nationalities that are not Spanish. We decided that our kids are taking the Spanish and Swiss nationalities. Wife still wanted to honor her culture, so we chose the name Arami, Ara for short, which means little heaven and has more special meaning to us, but doesn't sound so weird that it could be awkward when she's an adult. The Paraguayan family loves the name. The European family also loves the name, and they already know about the language. When we posted about Arami's arrival, we used her name, and I received some comments from European friends about the name being uncommon. And when I mentioned that it's my wife's language, some of them told me it's cultural appropriation because my daughter is not Latina and definitely not indigenous, and we're contributing to the harassment of indigenous people. Also, apparently, my wife doesn't look Latina enough despite being born there. Yes, she is white, and people assume she was born here until she tells the details, but she's proud of her origins, and we fully intend to teach it to our kids and visit enough to be connected to that side of our family. I don't know if we did the right thing now. I don't want to hurt the indigenous community. The language and traditions of that country are present in our lives. So when we chose the name, cultural appropriation never crossed our minds. Are we the idiots or are people overreacting? Not the idiot. Your European friends are gatekeeping your wife's culture by using her skin color to determine what culture she can or cannot be. You're honoring your wife's heritage, so it's not even cultural appropriation. Your friends are the idiots. How can they get to say that the wife isn't Latina enough? Like some random Europeans get to decide that for her? I've never even heard Europeans talking about cultural appropriation, so I think the OP is incredibly unlucky to know such a bunch of idiots who want to control what they call their baby. How do these people dare to say that he and his wife haven't got the right to use a name from her culture and language for their baby? I'm sorry to learn this sort of gatekeeping is spreading to Europe. Not the idiot. Anyone whining about cultural appropriation is 100% the idiot here. It's a Paraguayan name. Your wife is Paraguayan. Your daughter is half Paraguayan. How on earth is that cultural appropriation? Tell these people to get in the sea. Not the idiots. This isn't what cultural appropriation is at all. There is a clear link to the culture. Just because your wife doesn't look Latina enough, what does that even mean? Is there one particular look? Doesn't mean she suddenly isn't Latina. Be proud of the name of your combined mixed heritage. If your friends know about this and still call it appropriation, they sound pretty ignorant.